Morning, hon. How you doing?
Good morning, Deborah, LeeAnn.
So we are coming together today. We've been chatting for quite a while. Sorry that we didn't hit record earlier because there was some really fun stuff in there. But let's begin by introducing our topic, shall we?
Sure.
So we've been talking this month about the light being that has beautifully held a pillar of the School of Light Collective. And this is the light being of ancestral reverence. We call her Wisdom Keeper. And we've been exploring her gene key chart, her primary gifts, her prime gifts, and going through life's work to her evolution key to the radiance key. And this week, we get to talk about purpose.
Mm.
So, the purpose of this entity, this light being, and what we're calling an archetype, because we are also imagining that we can embody this archetype as a way to step more fully into our leadership and our life and our way of loving. So, let's talk a little bit about the radiance key and then like bring in what the pulse is, and then let's just see how they dance together. How's that?
Sure. You mean the purpose key?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So the purpose key is the 60th. And this is all moving. The gift that she is bringing is realism. And the acidic state is justice,
Ugh.
which
What's the shadow, just so I can be
the shadow is limitation.
okay.
So as she's anchoring in, I mean, I'm really feeling this call that her her essence, her purity is that justice.
Hmm.
And it is a earth the earth ship Merkaba is what it's kind of known as or called. And what I love about the gift, it is the common sense of magic, like what life is just naturally, as it flows, we have that in our beingness. It is realism. It's knowing that we're this and we're that.
And that is so funny because our the pulse that we're in is such a similar one. I mean, we're playing with the um heading into transparency, and I am loving how that is being able to look at all the issues, all the blockages, all the wounds, and getting to a place where we embrace and accept them. And this is not easy. And I feel like it's so timely for where we are in our election process here in the United States.
It,
Um,
the timing couldn't be better. Talk about
it's just hysterical. And so I can, it's almost like I can imagine our ancestors like giggling in the background. Like, yeah, maybe you guys will learn something this time. So, so I mean, not that they would be facetious, but if they're my ancestors, they probably are. So, let's talk a little bit about how do we know when that gift is playing in our life? I mean, I tend to think I have to feel the shadow first,
mm,
but not always. But it is a great reminder. It's the gateway to get into the gift. So when we start feeling, and we use this term a lot in abundance conversations, right? Is where there's limitations, and how do we relax into that and move into the space of justice, you know? Um,
and even feeling the word, the frequency of the word justice, know that you have divine essence within you, that you don't have to push anything, you're not having to pull anything. You recognize divinity in action will have it all playing out, right? So there's no need to worry or
Yeah, and I keep thinking that part of my centering process has to do with not leaning too far back and not leaning too far forward. But
Right.
there is something about sitting back enough in our chair that we can feel that support. And I imagine that at my back is my ancestor, is the life experiences and all of the wisdom that is holding me, holding me in place. They're not pushing me forward. They're just there at my back, like going and say, "We got you." By the way, this is the mudra for justice. And you take your middle fingers and fold them down with your thumb wrapped over them, and your other fingers are up. And you just drop in and breathe in, and you can feel how everything is connected above, below, all around, and it's all perfect. And there is no duality of good, bad, right, wrong. It's like, which is interesting. I didn't even think about that. There's three fingers going up, right?
Hmm.
So, anyway, it feels pretty darn yummy when you play with it. And so I'm like, I might be doing a lot of that in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So, um, so as we drop into this gift of playing in this playground. I'm just curious, what can we do with those words? The words are so stunningly beautiful, and I love all of the Richard Rudd's words in how he channeled this transmission of the gene keys because they're so energetically loaded. And I think a lot of the transmission for me has been received when I read aloud and the words come through my vocal cords and they kind of like, I can kind of feel them, the energy like settling into my system. It also is a great way for me to take in the information on a different level than just reading it, which to me is, to me, very mental. But when I read it out loud, it feels very embodied, if that makes sense. Any other thoughts around that?
No, I think it's very helpful. I've done it lots of various different ways in group, reading it aloud, and each person taking turns reading it aloud. Because it always lands a little differently when you hear somebody else read it too.
Oh, absolutely.
So, so yeah. Um,
Um, so the power of structure. I'm just looking at how we play the 60th gene key is has to a lot to do about playing with how do we reimagine structure. I think in our mind's eyes we see something and it has to be, we want that 3D image of it, space and time thing. And that
mhm.
this is moving into a 5D or beyond imagining. Didn't you say something about imagination earlier? What were you?
um, Not in this talk, but I'm sensing that we are in that mode of recognizing that there are structures. I had somebody give a good analogy of this yesterday, even about gene keys. Think of, we have this structure that we're using to help our consciousness change and shift and
Hmm.
grow. And so think of the structure as the scaffolding, right? As we're building this new way of being. But once we're done with that particular building, the scaffolding goes away. So it's not necessary maybe for us to use these permanently, but it's there to help us along the way as we're growing into remembering.
Yes, I love that. Oh, I also love growing into remembering. So the way it's worded on one of the Gene Keys pages, it says, if you know the human design system, then you will know that the 60th gate, along with the third gate, form the channel of mutation. And
Mm-hmm.
I love that because, along with the polarity of the 56 gate, create an incarnation theme called the Cross of the Laws. And I'd never heard that before.
Mm.
And so going from limitation to this higher state of of justice and transparency. I'm just curious, how do you I mean, you understand human design much better than I do. Do you have any like thoughts of explaining that a little bit? Because I need to somehow put together something in my mind, either an image or
Mm.
a sensation in my body to anchor it.
Right. Just so that you can picture where it is in your body. Um, through the teachings of Gene Keys, it's the colon.
Oh, it's funny. I've been
Yeah.
talking a lot to my lower abdomen and
And it's
organs.
and through Karen Curry Parker, the 60th gate is all on conservation. And in traditional human design, I'm laughing because you just said this word, acceptance. So and the I Ching is all on limitation. And in that particular biology, it's in the adrenals. But when you look at the body graph, it's in the root. It's
Yeah.
connector in the root. And so it's talking about the divine timing center and, what change are you resisting? We recognize that change is always happening, right? But where are we holding back? That's that limitation. Where are we holding back? Because this is in the ring of Gaia, which, is always in movement, always in growth, always in
Mutating. Hmm.
mutating and transforming. So are we holding back in some form that maybe keeping us from?
Well, the wisdom of our ancestors too. I mean, they are here now. I just feel them so much more present lately. It's like they're here in en masse to support us, going, we've got this.
Right,
You've been training all your life
right,
to be here now. And I'm
right.
like, and just keep showing up, keep speaking out, keep doing your thing, keep sharing your gifts. It's so funny because I'm like, okay, okay. I don't feel pushed, but I was laughing about when I was a teen facilitator for outdoor education uh, years ago. I did a thing with teens in their teen leadership program. And we would have these young people, and they would climb up the ladder to get to the top of the scaffolding, literally a scaffolding kind of thing, tower, to then jump off and do the zip line, right?
Mhm.
And these, especially that was so funny because these great big guys would be like, I'm not, no, not doing that. And I'm like, I've got your back. And I would just have them on the back and I would just breathe with them. And then just kind of, I didn't push, but I did encourage because I had my hands on their back. And they would do the, and go, oh my God. They were like laughing and crying and hugging me afterwards. They're like, that was the best experience. But I mean, it's what it feels like. I feel like our ancestors are doing right now. They're like, we're not pushing,
We got you right here.
but we got you, and you ain't going back.
Well, and I really honestly feel like it's allowing that our ability to have an open mind and see solutions and leading from that heart center as opposed from fear. So there's the structure, and then we know that we're going to need to modify structures because
Yeah.
the way, oh, I just thought of that movie with Ruth, um,
Ruth
the
Bader Ginsburg.
yes, where she basically she's in court with the Supreme Court and said, does this make any more sense? Like, does this make sense for us any longer? And she shifted the whole Supreme Court based on, okay, that was of that time,
Yeah.
that worked. but this
Mhm.
doesn't work anymore. So can we do this differently so we can accommodate more people in more um
Yeah, it's that opening of it's widening our gaze,
yeah,
opening beyond what we have been seeing for so long. And we're in that space. We can see the collapsing of the dualities everywhere.
right.
And I did my voting yesterday, and it was so funny because there's so many places where we had not just the Republican and Democrat candidates, but Libertarian and Green, and a new one called Better in our state. It's called
Oh,
the Better campaign. So I was just like, okay, it's time. I mean, every other country has more than two parties, and can we broaden?
yeah.
Um,
And not be scared of that. Like,
no,
right.
no, and one of the things that's on our ballot right now in the state of Missouri is ranked choice voting.
Mm-hmm.
There is a huge fear about that
Mm-hmm.
it's not, it causes more problems. And I'm like, that's actually the most democratic process in the world, that this person gets the most votes, but, then this person who came in second, we put theirs over here. Anyway, it makes so much more sense, and they want to eliminate it, and to the point where they actually wrote a bunch of lies in front of the at the top of that amendment, so people couldn't even get to what it was really about because it was buried in the wording. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, wow, what is the resistance to change? You know?
And
So as
and
we
let's just
play, go ahead.
and let's just know, let's feel into that justice word again and hold that position and really feel into what the divine, we're getting to identify how we will continue to show up individually. Are we going to be in a reactive state, or are we going to choose a conscious, thoughtful, reflective state?
And even if we do feel the reaction, to go, oh, and not react to the reaction, because then that sends us down the rabbit hole, but to be open to it and go, yep, there's room for you, and you don't run the show.
You don't
I'm
run.
going to choose and create in this way. So yeah, there's that whole, which
Well,
is why there's three states to each of these consciousness levels, you know, and you got to go through them all to get to the citic state. By the way, I'm still holding the. So
yeah,
how does this play with our pulse?
that's what I'm so excited about. So the pulse this week is the 44th gene key, which is playing from interference to teamwork to the citic state of synarchy. I know, perfect. It is the a beautiful revelation that it's all on karmic relationships, and that the people that we came to work with individually and collectively, we are here to all find the people
To weave together.
to weave
Yeah.
together to change. We're meant to work with people that light, I want to say light us up.
Well, I think that's true because our light and their light come together. I mean, it's when we come together like this that we are weaving new things together that have never been. So this is where that innovation, it's where mutation. And what I love about things is sometimes they come together and then they move and then they come together over here.
Huh?
And then there's this, then we add some more people. So that the synarchy mudra is weaving your fingers together, and he has them inside. I don't know if it really matters, but the main thing is to the thumbs are up and that you're holding like this. To me, it almost looks like you've got a foundation that you're holding up something, a structure or something. So it's that scaffolding as well, right?
Yeah, right. I think that they weave together very well in that sense, that um, that's what we're building, is starting to build the new structures.
Yeah.
that are based on harmony, team play, and know that they're all self-organizing. Like
Oh,
there's no hierarchy here. We're all just feeling into it and identifying where we fit in the puzzle.
yeah.
So
It's been really fun to see how the pulses show up and when we schedule these, these topics, to see how they dance together.
mhm.
And they always do. It might be a hip hop and it might be, modern dance. It might be swing dance. Who knows? Salsa. Um, but they are dancing. So let's talk about how before we close, I just want to know how can we do some embodying of this transparency, this mutable energy, this um, the teamwork. I just feel like there's so many beautiful, rich words here. I mean, I even just contemplating them would be fun.
Yeah, I feel like there's the contemplation of the frequency of the word and also tuning into your own heart
Mm,
and making a sound, and it's your sound. There's no judgment around making your sound so that you feel more um, in your body, in your cells, connected to yourself.
yeah. And I've been doing a lot of movement lately. I've been also listening to frequency tones and feeling them through my ear bones from one side to the other. I kind of press my earbuds in sometimes but when I do that, if I look outside and play with the light, I just feel like I just get called to movement. There's something that's moving through me and I'm like, whatever, okay. I'm allowing it. Um, and there are some strange physical sensations right now, and I'm just allowing that to be. My body is changing too. Everything, the matter, which these beautiful, what do you call them, earth suits or something?
Mhm.
They they take a little bit longer, okay, a lot longer to change. Our minds and hearts and souls can move at the speed of light. And then this beautiful organism is more dense and takes a bit longer. So,
Mhm.
how do we have patience with? I was just having this conversation with the trauma that is held sometimes in our body that will show up. Um, and we didn't even, that original trauma was triggered by something very, a sound or something that wasn't even like hurtful in any way, but it brings up all of that pain. And our body remembers that and goes into the fear mode. And so we're really noticing that we need to make space for that and that we soften into that. So when we feel the constriction, how do we love the constriction? How do we love the tightening because it gives us a chance to heal it? And we have to do this over and over and over. A lot of times we can energetically heal a lot of things, but our bodies are like, we have layers and layers and layers of stuff to play with. So enjoy that because it's not always fun.
This light being also the energy is 60.1. So the one reflects a line one, which in the purpose is the physicality. It's the
Oh,
bone.
interesting.
It's the bones, it's the structure. And so if you acknowledge and identify your body as a temple and you are taking care to help and understand your health and vitality is vital.
Mm,
You're just enjoy being alive, anchoring that energy in because it's down into the bones. It's the crystalline core of who we are. And It also is related, as Deborah says, to our ancestors. It's the memory. It's the that ripples. It's the record keeper, and it is the wisdom keeper for the mysteries of the past, but also acknowledging the foundation on which we thrive.
Yes, at the
Not just
same
survive,
time. Yeah.
but
Hmm.
thrive. So,
So, so fascinatingly, I was just thinking of what this remind you talked about it like being a temple, and I'm like, so we're in renovation mode. And when you do renovation, I was just talking to somebody last night who said, I won't see you for a while at food pickup at the co-op I belong to. She goes, because we're redoing our kitchen. And she says, I'm just gonna have like a microwave and a small fridge. I mean, it won't be, so I won't be buying food from the farm co-op. But anyway, she said, but we were laughing about how long it takes but what the other side will be, because she is really committed to really healthy, locally grown food and all that. So she was laughing because she said, there's the demo, which is completely messy and just where you rip everything out and you're down to like the barest of bones. And then there's the continuing to add all of the bigger parts. And then there's the, updating all the equipment and the electrical and the water and all of that. And then there's fine, then you get to put in the fun stuff. And then you get to paint and put in and then you finally get the curtains and, I mean, it's like it takes a while. And it's not something that will be done. Okay, I've healed that, I'm done. And I think a lot of times I was just watching a show on Amazon about energy healing. And the one woman said, it took us 5 months of regular visits. And I never lost hope because I knew that it wasn't something, I wasn't going to cure this cancer quickly. And I mean, it just takes time to get all of the different pieces and the little, you know, I don't know, the little messengers that they've been sending out to the different parts of the body, they all needed to be tended. And so I'm laughing because that's what I'm thinking about, my temple being renovated. So thank you for that.
mm,
Little updates going on here, but it's constant. Anything else? Have we?
thank you, Wisdom Keeper, for anchoring in the justice and the teamwork and the synarchy, and that we'll have everybody show up in their right moment in time, exactly where they need to be, when they need to be there,
And
to
holding the space. Yeah.
holding
For
that, holding
for the
that space
two.
for that
Hmm.
justice.
It's coming. It is. May not be today or tomorrow,
Well,
but we can still tap into feelings of it. That's what I love.
well, we know that it's already happened, right? So if we play with the timelines, past, present, and future, I mean, just be with whatever is and feel into that and know that it's already done.
Yeah.
It's already
And
done.
every time we spend a split second or a 5 seconds or a minute or two in this citic state, we're anchoring it more deeply here.
Exactly.
So,
So enjoy justice and synarchy.
absolutely. Until our next time together. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.